Hi, Severance fans. Welcome back to Tori Talks with Dr. S. I'm Tori. This is Dr. S. Today we'll talk about Severance Season 2, Episode 8. It's called Sweet Vitriol. Did you know what sweet vitriol meant?
Nope.
Didn't either. It's another term for an anesthetic. It's like one of the first anesthetics they ever used.
Is that what they were huffing?
Ether. Ether. It's another term for ether, which is the anesthetic. Yes.
So it's like an old school drug.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we find out that ether is a huge part of all of this, especially this episode. So this episode is where Harmony went, right? She went off to Salt's Neck.
Salt's Neck. We saw her drive away, since this kind of is like a shoot-off.
Now I'm wondering if that's a real place.
Oh.
You know,
it is.
Is all this stuff fictitious? I don't think so. Okay. You know, like real towns or fake towns.
Right.
I don't know. I think, oh God, where did they said they filmed this? Someplace.
Nova Scotia?
It's right, yeah.
I think this part they said is Nova Scotia.
Yeah. Which, it looked like, very...
Like stark, desolate, so cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Like her... Like
yes, it's like her personality.
Yes.
Right, it made sense. Well, after watching this episode, do you feel a little more sympathy toward her?
Yes.
Yeah.
How?
Okay.
How is that possible?
They do it to us.
They do it to us all the time. I feel like that's like their challenge. They like delight in finding a way for us to feel bad for somebody who we thought was a totally hideous person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well done.
Well done indeed. So, Harmony goes home. There is this man who's clearly huffing ether, and you just see kind of like how sad the town is. She walks into a restaurant, and there's older people. There's a woman who's on oxygen. Is that what's being pumped in there? I don't know. And then she has a friend there, her friend Hampton. So they go way back. They are childhood friends. They both used to work at the Lumen factory together.
He refers to them as child labor. So they must have been recruiting them from like way back.
Yes.
Right?
You even see the buildings that says Lumen on it. Like this is where Lumen began.
The original factory, but we don't, I still don't quite understand what was being manufactured. Was it the ether?
I think it's like, maybe, it leads me to believe that all these people are hooked on it because of Lumen.
Yeah.
Like her mom used it. Well, and this is, just think about that. If ether is an anesthetic and the chip makes you forget, there's some correlation, right?
Oh, so they were using it as part of the experimenting.
Maybe.
And is like the side effect that it does that to their lungs, like too much, because they are all like on the oxygen tanks and like the ventilators and stuff. It must be, right? Because I don't know about ether. Didn't even know it was used as a recreational drug.
You know what? I didn't either. Because I know what ether is, but I didn't know you just start huffing it. But yeah. So we learned that the friend Hampton is still pretty bitter, but she, even toward her, but she's like, okay, cool, whatever, and you need to help me. And of course he does. He literally leaves his shift at work and he meets her outside. And, you know, she's afraid of Lumen spies, right? So she's like, I need you to drive me in because they're going to be watching the house of Sissy.
Yes.
Sissy is her aunt. And she, you know, it makes me think like orphanage, like Miss Hannigan. Like she was obviously the leader, the teacher, school marm type
she was.
Figure for these young kids. And he is very upset about her.
Yeah.
She's not a fan of hers either, but
she's like all Lumen.
Yes.
She's like
all
a
eager, all cute.
Yes. She's a full-fledged disciple.
I think I read that sissy in Latin means like to follow blindly or something like that. Yeah.
Interesting.
So yeah, they don't miss a detail unless that was just a coincidence, but I doubt it with these writers.
Too. Yeah.
So she needs to get to Sissy because that is where her mom died. I think she needs some kind of closure, but also she's looking for something very specific, right? So she gets there. Sissy, there's no warm welcome back or anything, and she's even yelling at Hampton like, "You need to get out of here."
Yeah.
And that's not going to stop Harmony.
No.
We go up there to where her mother died. We even see her room.
Yes.
There's lots of things. I know there's little nuggets in there, right? There's even, I think, a poster that says something that Mr. Milchek has said, "We must be cut to heal."
Oh, yes, I do remember that.
Doesn't that seem abusive?
It does.
I need to hurt you.
I feel like they probably did a lot of that type of torture.
I think we're like putting it together without putting it together.
Like all these individual little pieces. It's really cool how they weave it too, like this little offshoot narrative, but it's tied together to Devin calling her.
Yeah.
Because we saw Devin calling her, and now we're seeing it happen like from her, the other end.
Right.
Yeah.
So she is there. She sees where her mom died. She takes the breathing tube and she starts breathing it in until she passes out.
So was she breathing in like oxygen or the ether now?
So when you say breathing tube, I'm thinking like she was intubated, like she pulled the tube out herself. This really threw me, even as a medical professional. I'm like, what do you mean? A breathing tube? Was she breathing ether? Yeah. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. But then it's like breathing tube, you think just to keep you
and then Sissy says she pulled it out herself. Yeah. Like she committed suicide.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay, it sounds, so her mom was probably addicted to ether. Either way, she starts sucking on the tube, maybe as a recreation, because I don't think there's anything in there, oxygen or ether. And then she starts making these sounds. I mean, she's crying, but she sounds like a whale. Did she not sound like a whale?
It was a very interesting sound. It's like, what is she doing?
It's animalistic in nature, yes. So she passes out. Hampton's like, yo, you've been here for a while. I gotta go. I have a life to live, or does he? Right. And he comes up there, and then they huff ether together.
Yeah. So then I'm thinking maybe what she was doing was just the oxygen or just the sound.
Yeah.
Right. Because
I think it's just
it was more like maybe to like remind her of her mom when she was alive. Like the sound was probably comforting. I've heard that some people do that, like when they lose their husband and the husband used to use a CPAP, they'll just like sleep with the CPAP on. Because of the sound.
Yeah, it did seem like it was some kind of healing, therapeutic action by her. But she even kisses him. You know, I sensed chemistry with them from way back to the restaurant.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Beneath the like gruff, like they try to age him and stuff, but he clearly doesn't look as old as the other people.
Yeah.
And but I was just like, no, I can see that. They probably had some history.
Yeah.
Right?
He's a famous character actor. I can even recall him from an episode of Friends because I'm a huge Friends fan. But okay, so, which I don't know what the point of that was, just that they were feeling high and frisky. I don't know.
And she said, she hadn't done that since she was like 8 years old. So that means when they were little, and maybe that was part of the whole child labor thing, like they kind of were like,
here, take this.
Yeah, and like, what do you know when you're 8 years old?
Horrible.
Yeah. Do you think he's resentful because she like stayed with him and went corporate and like got to do like all the higher level stuff and left him behind?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. That's what I think. Yeah, because they grew up together, and he's like, you just left and you bought it and you bought into it. But obviously she's having some reservations about it now, but it just shows how predatory of a corporation Lumen is and how horrible they treat people. And also, we see somewhere where it says that she did a fellowship, a Wintertide fellowship, which is like what Miss Huang is doing. A fellowship, right?
So at that age. Yeah. So it is child labor.
So I think we know why we have Miss Huang now. Instead of like we were trying to say it was Gemma and kid
so she's like
showing that they started young.
They've like recruited her from wherever she's from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way they talk in Severance too, like every time Sissy talks, I was like, what is this? Because like I don't know if it's biblical. I don't know if it's old. I almost said old tongue.
It's like some type of cultish language.
Yes.
Yes.
But Sissy is unwavering. She's rude. She's like, it's the way of Kier. It's just, there's no wavering from it. She's just committed to this cult life.
There was a plaque on the wall too, wasn't there? And she used to work for the company, like, because now she's, I guess, retired. I don't know. But it seems like she was like leader of the quarter or something like that. So
she got some praise.
Yeah.
So, but still, Miss Cobell, Harmony, is still not finding what she needs to find. So she goes to a shed outside, and there's a notebook, and there are drawings of Severance, of the process of Severance.
Like every single part of it, everything, every step of the way, she was responsible for.
It was her idea. Yeah. And then when she tells Sissy about this, and Sissy's like, oh, this is extraordinary.
You heard the crackling fire, right?
Yes, and she throws it in the fire. But Harmony does get it out. But
I was like, no, don't. She cannot find it and then have it be burnt instantly. There's no way. But I was so worried.
The fact that Sissy was like, well, Kier says you're not allowed to own your own, like, ideas or knowledge?
Yeah.
What the heck?
So only the family can become, like, super rich off of it?
Yeah. But Sissy, that actress is great. I think it's Jane Alexander. But they exchange some words, and then she leaves. Well, Hampton's like, hey, somebody's coming, because that was what they were worried about all along. So she takes off in his truck. I like that he's like, basically bring it. Like, whoever's coming, he says, come tame these tempers, a-holes.
Tempers.
The four tempers.
Why did he stay?
Yeah, I know.
I was like, shouldn't you go with her?
There's no kind of consequence for him? I don't understand.
I don't know what's gonna, like, what?
He's just like stuck there being
stranded.
addicted to ether, and like he's nothing maybe, Maybe he has nothing.
I didn't understand why he didn't go with her. Like,
Thought it
did he want
very-
to like stall them or something?
Yeah, I mean,
Like help her by staying behind to like delay them from?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. It was weird. That I didn't get that.
but she's like, I'm out of there.
Yeah, she didn't
right?
care.
So that's when she gets the call from Devin, and then she basically says, so Devin says something like, he's trying to reintegrate, but we have another idea, or we think we should do something else, and then Harmony's like, tell me everything.
Yeah, and she right away said Ragabi.
She
Like
knew.
she knew who was behind it
Yes.
because Ragabi used to be with her, like
Right.
work for Lumen, and now she's doing this whole underground thing. So.
Yeah. But she's just this brilliant mind as a kid who maybe was just born into whatever this is, and had this brilliant idea, probably told them about it, and then they just stole it all.
So interesting because now she's gonna have this notebook, and she wants to get credit for her ideas, but then who is she gonna, like, I don't know. And it's just a notebook. You need to scan that.
Yeah.
You need to like put it in a like digital.
Sorry. Yeah, exactly. But that's like,
Yeah.
what time frame or what time
Yeah,
are we? What decade is this?
I know.
Do they have scanners?
I know.
That's been the biggest question too, because they have these phones, elaborate
Yes.
phones, but then they have cars that look like they're from the 80s or early 90s.
It's so weird.
It's really hard to know.
I
but
do not understand the whole temporality at all.
This episode, while kind of slow, doesn't take away from the fact that it was very necessary, it was very important, and it was kind of a plot twist to know that it was Harmony that discovered, created the Severance. And she still has Petey's chip, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
she'll know exactly what to do. Will she be the key to Mark
Yeah.
not reintegrating? I guess it would be.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting to think now she's going to be part of the dismantling of Lumen
Sounds like it.
when before she was like the core.
Yeah.
Or is she? Or does she want
I
to
don't
go
know.
back
I
and
don't know.
think she's going to get the credit that she's deserved? Because I don't know, is she fully like unindoctrinated?
Or is she going whistleblower?
Yeah.
Mode.
It's so, the beginning of the episode, like the first 30 minutes, it's a shorter episode too. It's like 45 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
The first 30, I was like, what is happening here? I didn't understand at all, like the connection. I was just like totally trying to get it.
Like, where are we going?
And then like the last 15 minutes, I was like, I don't know, just kind of slowly things started clicking for me. And I was like,
it's a big deal. It was a really big episode. I believe we only have 2 left, though.
That's crazy.
So that's horrible, because we've been waiting for 3 years for this, and
I
now it
know.
just is going to go
It's
so
just
quickly.
flying by.
I still haven't heard if they were greenlit for season 3, but how could they not be when they're like, I think this is the most successful series
Apple
of
TV
Apple
series.
TV.
Yep.
Yeah.
Surpassed Ted Lasso.
Which is crazy. So I think it's just a matter of when, not
Yeah.
if. But that is that episode. So let us know what you thought of this episode. Please comment, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.